He was driving somewhere between Gallup and Winslow on an old stretch of Route 66. At the end of his rope, looking for hope, but he found this old bar here instead. The neon was dusty, the door hinges rusty, on the window a handwritten sign. Between the Paps and the Coors and the two swinging doors, faded words, but he read them just fine. If you cheat, hope it's death that you're cheating. If you lie, lie with someone you love. If you fight, do it for the right reasons. If you drink, then come drink one with us. The whole place was packed. The waitress waved him on back, set him up on the last stool. She said, man, I can tell you've been going through hell. Well, we've all come out of there too. And we live by our own golden rule. If you cheat, hope it's death that you're cheating. If you lie, lie with someone you love. If you fight, do it for the right reasons. If you drink, then come drink one with us. All we can do is the best that we can. So we're all sinners, forgivers, and friends. If you cheat, hope it's death that you're cheating. If you lie, lie with someone you love. If you fight, do it for the right reasons. If you drink, then come drink one with us. If you drink, then come drink one with us. Drink one with us.
And welcome to another edition of the True Patriot Outfitters Podcast, special All-American Kayak Series edition. Folks, it's me, Gene. You were just listening to Mr. Chris Turner. He will be here in Colorado at Thunder Mountain Harley-Davidson over the 9/11 weekend. Man, it's going to be a huge event. We have the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance on display. There's going to be a piece of the Twin Towers being kept indoors at Thunder Mountain Harley-Davidson. Opening ceremonies are the 9th at about 10:15. You don't want to miss this. Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association, Front Range Chapter 3-6, Thunder Mountain Harley-Davidson, and Romans Warrior Foundation have come together to put this event on. Stop 22 Tour artist Chris Turner will be on hand. There may be another also Stop 22 artist that's going to be stopping by. You don't want to miss this weekend, man. Get on down to Thunder Mountain Harley-Davidson. It's going to be amazing. A phenomenal tribute. Before we get going too much further here, got a couple little pieces of laundry items here to get out of the way. We have in the green room, I see Mr. Boothe is waiting for us here. Let me get a couple of these things taken care of real quick. First and foremost, if you're watching via YouTube, please smash that subscribe button. That is a huge deal for us to really help us continue to grow. We have great views, but our subscribers numbers are still low. So spread the word. If you're watching through YouTube there, get a good subscribe button on there going for us. That will help us quite a bit continuing to push the mission out there. One other piece. This is the less than desirable stuff to go over, but I've had a couple questions come in on this, and we have made a post. This is in regards to the True Patriot Outfitters and the Romans Warrior Foundation, and I wanted to say something just briefly and quickly. We have put out an official statement in regards to the silliness that was attempted, but I wanted to just visually and verbally also just kind of put a quick understanding to this so that people can completely grasp where the True Patriot Outfitters is at, where the Romans Warrior Foundation is at, so on and so forth. As you know, I sit on the executive board of the Romans Warrior Foundation, and we had put out a statement here in regards to, if you follow the Romans Warrior Foundation, you've seen quite a bit of the information that was flowing on their websites. I'm going to sum this up real fast. There are former volunteers with the RWF that had an idea of something they wanted to do. The executive board looked at their plan and decided no, it was not in the best interest of the Romans Warrior Foundation for these folks to basically take the work of what the RWF had and basically go off and do their own thing, and thereby poaching away certain resources from the RWF and the mission we're on with that wall. It was not going to be a good idea. They didn't like this. They got upset. They left. They said they're going to do it anyway. And now this has spilled over into the TPO because one of the organizations that works with us is now working with them to put on a something using a lot of the same terminology and wording, to the point where people were calling us up and asking us if we were at Thunder Mountain and over at this other location. It was that confusing. They were using the likenesses of this. And so we have taken a very strong stance to this because it was absolutely done with a lack of integrity. And quite frankly, in regards to this other organization, this large corporation that's working with them, you know what? A few fishing poles and some kayak gear is not worth the integrity of this nonprofit or the people we work for. And so if that's the way it has to be, then just like I said, lose our name. We don't need it. We don't want to be associated with anybody doing that. So that's that. All that melodrama garbage out of the way. Now let's get back to what we're here for, which is the mission at hand, and of course the All-American Kayak Series. Coming up this weekend, Mind Lands, Kansas. It's a wildlife area, dude. It is, I'm telling you, it is an amazing hidden gem, and it is just a collective of bodies of water. These are former strip pits in here. Some of them shallow, some of them deep, some of them grown over. Some of them, if you listen carefully, you will hear banjos. Dude, there's some remote areas in this stuff. It is going. When the All-American put this on the schedule last, I think whenever they released it, I think I've been watching this thing for over a year now, and it's finally here. We're going to get a chance. So to break it down, normally I go out and find a guide, right? Well, not really going to find a guide for this neck of the woods. So we're going with a guy who we all know and a guy who actually has some history fishing this bad boy. So let's bring in the man himself, Mr. Joshua Boothe. Dr. Boothe, how are you, sir?
Doing good, trying to stay cool, waiting for fall to get here, but how are you doing?
You know, man, I'm doing all right. I'm all packed up. I just got a few things electronic wise behind me I got to get set up in my little food bag, my travel bag, and the trailer's set. The old bass buggy sitting out front, hitched up, so I'm ready to get out there.
Yeah, you're hitting the road tomorrow, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'll be on the road 6 a.m. That should put me in there. I'm anticipating this is going to be the longest haul with the trailer. I can't do 75, 80 with that trailer. So I'm anticipating I should be in there probably about 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow evening is when I should be pulling in. Hopefully it cools down by then. I was looking at the weather and it's like, yep, mid 90s the whole time through.
Man, it has been a scorcher in this area for it seems like months, and we're in such a bad drought, and it looks like the heat's going to keep going for another week or so.
Crazy. Of course,
There's
yeah. We couldn't get the cool break for us.
nope. It's like the cool break comes right after the tournament. So
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see here. Hang on one sec. I was working on something. Okay, never mind. All right. Yeah, man, it's and we got the man himself putting up a little comment here for us, Jay. Hey Jay, if you're watching, brother, check your PM, your private messages there on Facebook. Take a fish or take a look at that real quick and respond back and let me know. So
yeah,
yeah, so the
top
weather.
water will definitely be in play. That's for sure.
I'm hoping, dude. I really, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't mind telling anybody. I'm gonna knuckle up, man, and go close quarters combat with this thing. I'm gonna have maybe 4 rods in the yak. I'm not even taking the big yak with the bow mount and everything. I'm grabbing the thin down version, a little bit lighter version, because I'm ready for some pond hopping out there.
Yeah, that's probably a smart thing to do because if you can be uh, pretty mobile, then you can hop around and hit 4, 5, 6 different pits in one day if you're fishing fast and
Yup.
had a good plan.
I think the only thing that might slow me down is that weather, hoisting that thing in and out of the back of my truck, in the weather. I'm fat and old, so I'm going to be
Yeah,
looking for that. I'm looking for that easy move.
it's looking like it's going to be hot, but I think there is a chance of rain and clouds that day. So I guess we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, that will be one of those things where you don't wear rain gear. You just like go ahead, hit
Yeah,
me.
yeah, no, you want it to rain. Please rain.
Heck yeah. So I figure what would be cool. Let me go ahead and throw up on screen here. This is what the boundaries look like for this event here. Now let me blow this up a little bigger here. Which one is it? Is it this one? Almost. There we go. All right, so the boundaries here, let's start with the north boundary. It looks like, what is that, road, highway, whatever it is,
Yeah,
126,
126.
running into Pittsburgh, and where 126 comes down through McCoon and connects into 400.
Yeah, up there in that northern boundary area, there gets to be a lot more private pits than public, but there are several public in that area, especially around the Pittsburgh area as well. And if anglers are looking for somewhere with cell service, the closer they are to Pittsburgh, then the better cell service they're going to have.
Gotcha. That's a good tip. That's a good deal. And so then it looks like it runs north-south from Strauss down to just on the appears to be east side of Oswego.
Right. And then down there to Highway 160 and
Yep.
down there in that southwest corner, that's where that whole big area from West Mineral down to Hallowell and that whole area, that's your main area right there. That's
Yep.
where most of the public pits that have decent boat ramps are located.
Roger that. Yeah, and most of the stuff I've seen online and doing research through Kansas parks and such, that was the area that I was getting most of my information for.
And also, Columbus is the nearest town down there, and there's a McDonald's and a Subway there, and there's cell service there as well.
Nice.
It's really spotty when you're out on the pits. I have AT&T, and it's not very good at all. I mean, honestly. But
Gotcha.
once I come down south and get on Highway 160 near Hallowell, then I have signal again.
Nice. Okay.
So usually from Hallowell to Columbus on Highway 160, I usually get cell service there.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, and so then it goes back up to 400 and turns into 160. Yeah, it looks
Mhm.
pretty cut and dry. About the only thing that might be a little there's a is that a set of waters right there that's split by our boundaries, or kind of what is?
That's the Neosho River, I think. That's a river that flows through there.
Gotcha. Let me see if I can bring this in. There we go. And I apologize for all my marks. What I'm marking are ramps, just so you're aware. I've never been here, but I go through bodies of water and I mark ramps. So that's what I was going through in certain areas. So if we look at this area, Oswego, oh yeah, so it must be or Horseshoe. Is Horseshoe Lake in play?
No, it's not.
Okay. So we're on the other
So
side of, oh yeah, there it is.
yeah, everything's on the east side of the Neosho River. You
Okay.
see that
So,
little county road right there. The next road over right there. Yep, I'm
okay.
pretty sure that is the boundary
Okay. Gotcha. So
on the
that's
map.
Southwest 120th Street. Gotcha. That, and
And
that
there's
runs, yeah, that runs completely all the way right through up through there. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's really not that many in that area anyway.
Right. Right. Gotcha. Man, that river is muddy. Goodness.
Oh yeah, it's a nasty river.
Lovely.
Yeah,
So,
it's only good for white bass and spoonbill in the spring when they run up from Grand Lake. That flows all the way into Grand Lake in Oklahoma.
oh, wow. So this was, so as I'm going around and I'm snooping stuff and I'm using the sat imagery, I come across places like this. And I'm thinking, who lives out here?
That's
I I don't
that's
want to.
probably right. That's There could be people that stay out there for a week or two at a time, but that's an RV that somebody's parked there because it's all completely public camping.
Gotcha.
I don't know what that is.
If you listen closely, I'm telling you, banjos are playing.
But yeah, there are. I would say what you're looking at there, that could be a private pit because
Yeah,
it's also got a dock on it, and none of the public pits that I've been to, except for the trout pit, have an actual dock or a boat tied up. So I would say, looking at that map, that's a private pit. So that's why you're seeing that crap back there.
yeah. And if you start snooping around, man, you come across these little places like this that it's like, I bet
Yeah,
you they don't want too many
no,
visitors.
no,
So,
those anything like that, that's private. That
yep,
is a private, and all of them are they're well marked because the people that have those pits, they do not want anybody on them. So they
nope,
make there's purple paint everywhere. Purple paint means no trespassing. And then they've got signs, and a lot of them are gated off to where you can't even get to them through the gate anyway. So,
perfect, perfect.
I mean, there's actually a couple pits that are half private, half public, and they've got a buoy line going across, and it says "Don't pass this buoy line," but you can fish up on the other side. So
Jeez,
everything is clearly marked, so it shouldn't be hard for the anglers to figure out. It's not something really crazy.
that's awesome. And it's just there's so many different areas, that you get to choose from that you can. I mean, different types too. I mean, when you look at the old saying, when you look at the watercolors, that darker water
Yeah,
usually indicates something deeper. It's like than some of the
that's a
others.
right there. That was a good one. The trout pit. That one's really deep and has really clear water, and it does have trout in it too. You have to have a trout stamp to even get on that lake. So if anybody's planning on fishing that, you've got to have your Kansas trout stamp to get there. Fish that.
Gotcha.
That's the only one in the area, but that one you do have to have a trout stamp to get on. And there are some big bass in there too.
Nice.
That clear water makes them a little more finicky, but they're in there.
We in Colorado deal with that all the time. It's a heavy pressure, situation. Thing that I love about some of these is look at these, just all these little kickbacks, these
Yeah.
little, pockets that you're going to find. They're everywhere in here. And more importantly, what's going on beneath that water, man, is just what's going to set this place up. Some of these could just be amazing.
Yeah,
Man, who knows?
I call those fingers, that what they
Yep.
are, these are all from coal mining back in the day. And what they would do is they would start digging that trench to explore, and then they would break off and go to the left and then at a 90-degree turn and explore to see if they hit anything. And if they didn't, they would turn around, go back to the main ditch and go forward and then cut back up. And that's what those are. Those are all cutbacks from when they were exploring, going, seeing if there was any kind of minerals to get up in there, if that makes sense.
That is
And, and
awesome.
and some of them go pretty far. I mean, some of these pits have, like that one down south a little bit. You can see all those little trenches, all those gashes,
Yep.
all those little slash marks. Those are areas where they were exploring and digging and looking, and then they would back out of it. So a lot of them do have moss and scum across the top, and it's frogfish of heaven back in those. If you can get into those, some of them are shallow. A lot of them are pretty shallow, but when you're coming off the main pits, those are pretty deep usually.
So talk to me, dog. How like what's the snake population down here? Are they going to be dropping out of trees in my yak or what?
No, there's actually not a lot of trees next to the shoreline, and a lot of the pits there's just tall grasses and reeds.
Okay.
Um, No, snakes are. I don't think snakes will be a problem. I'm not really someone that ever worries about them, but I don't think it'll be an issue at all, really.
I don't worry about them either as long as they stay the hell out of my boat.
Yeah.
I don't like. I don't want anybody, anything in my boat that I didn't invite.
Hmm.
And I'm
There's a
not. I'm not inviting Mister No Shoulders. I'll tell you that right now.
a lot of these pits are full of multi-species of fish too. They've got largemouth, but they've also got catfish and crappie and perch, and a couple of them got hybrid stripers in them. There's the trout pit that's got trout, so there's a lot of variety of fish in these. There's white bass in there too.
That's awesome, man.
They're really healthy. I mean, once this area was mined, it was completely destroyed, and it was just everything was dead. And so when they tried to do this restoration project, I I can't tell you all the details off the top of my head. I think it's back in the '60s maybe, but they let it all go back to nature and they filled them all in, and it's turned into this big nature preserve. And there's just bass everywhere. There's fish everywhere. There's a lot of hunters that go out there. There's deer and turkey everywhere. It's a pretty cool wilderness that once was a wasteland, but now it's a pretty cool nature area.
So Tim Gurley types in banjos is my cup of tea. I don't doubt that one bit, brother Tim. And then, of course, my man here from Colorado. I'll be drop shotting for sure. That clear water on the trout, you might have to really, get one of those big boys to play for sure.
Some of these pits in the main channels, they're going to be 30 to 50, even 60-foot deep. Some of them are pretty dang deep. I mean,
Dang.
they're not just like shallow ponds. The main channels are pretty deep, and with the water being so low right now because we are in a drought, there could be a lot of different methods that could be used to catch fish. A drop shot might actually work. I mean,
Sure.
there's the since they were digging these channels, mining, the drop off from the shoreline is very steep. So it goes from 1 foot to 10 foot real quick, on those main channels. And so fishing those ledges, fishing top water, fishing those backwater finger cuts and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different options. I think you could probably catch them just about any way you wanted to fish, really.
It's one of the things here in Colorado with our super clear water, where you got 20-foot viz and, high pressure, no vegetation, drop shotting and such. It becomes like almost, you have to, learn the skill. And the cool thing about that drop shot is that it's just such an indiscriminate killer, man. It'll catch just about anything, and that's why I personally think it just plays well across the country. Anywhere you go, there's guys that I've learned that will actually take a drop shot and throw it in cover, in 3 foot of water, and they'll be pulling fish out with it. They have that much confidence in the rigging. They just beef up the lines, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the pits here, they have a lot of vegetation in them. Some of them have, that coontail grass. Some of them have that green snotty slop on top. And then there's also lay downs and brush piles in some of them too. So you got a variety of everything. Some of them are flooded forests. So there's trees growing everywhere in them. I mean,
Man, look at the slashes in this one.
Yep,
All
that's
the way
what.
through.
Yeah, and if I don't know if you could get in there right now with the water being low, but when the water's right, you can get your kayak back and all that, and nobody's getting a bass boat back there. That's all virgin water.
Yeah.
That's why the fishing is just so good, because you can actually get to places that people can't get to and they haven't been to, and those fish are they'll eat anything you throw in front of them.
Exactly. They haven't seen anything like that. You don't have
Right.
a whole lot of pressure there.
And that's also, as you're seeing here, this is why we are allowing portaging in this tournament, which is not a normal rule for us. But as you can see from looking at this map, there are areas where you could get out and drag your kayak over a little piece of, a little finger of land and get into a new body of water, and it's still public.
That's awesome.
So there are several pits. There's a lot. Oh, there's too many to count, but that you can probably only access by launching at one area at the ramp, getting out and dragging and getting into the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That was one of the other reasons why I wanted to go in so thin with my gear for this one, and that's why we chose our Newport NK 180 motor on the back of this thing, so it scoots us around. I can bounce off of stuff and not worry about it, and it goes in and out of the water super fast. So I'm actually going to leave my Black Pack Pro behind. I think we're just going to throw a couple Plano boxes in there and away we go. I think
That's what I would do too.
Yep.
I mean, I would just have me a frog and some buzz bait, probably a crocagator head knocker buzz bait and jackhammer, and call it good. I only need 3 or 4 rods, maybe spinner bait, but like I was saying earlier, I mean, this is probably setting up. I mean, the water is still going to be warm. That could be an issue, but I think any angler could just throw their strengths and catch fish. And there's slot limits on almost all of these pits as well. So there's a 14 to 18-inch slot. So some of these pits are just loaded with 18-inch fish. And then, and then every once in a while you get one of them 21s or 22s that have evaded the the flat bottom boat guys that like to put them on a stringer and eat them. But like I said, there's a slot limit. You can't keep anything between 14 and 18 inches on most of these pits. So you're going to catch big numbers of that size range.
That's awesome. They're also wanted to also say I found actually a good solid grocery store right here at King Cash Saver for what it's worth. I'm planning I'll actually be hitting that before I'm on my way to where we're going to have the awards, which is at the Big Brutus RV Park. This is going to be freaking cool getting in there to see old Big Brutus.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it still is, but it was the largest electric shovel, and it actually dug that pit right where you were looking at that water there.
Yep.
That's not Big Bruce there. That's an old one, but yeah, there she is. That's actually where they parked it when they finished digging. They dug that trench and they stopped, and they realized that it was too expensive to move it, so they just left it there.
Wow. That's crazy.
And that pit's a good one too. The Big Brutus pit that's right next to where we're going to be having the awards. Yes, look at the size of that sucker.
Good night, dog. That's a bucket right there. Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat museum that's going to be right there at our awards, where everybody can see, what the mining life was like in southeast Kansas during that time period.
Now, Lake Big Brutus here, is this private or is this public?
That's the pit I was talking about. That's a pretty good pit. They actually they actually hold bass boat tournaments on that pit sometimes.
I was going to say there's a ramp there, but I couldn't see another ramp. I was looking at
No, that's the only one. There's no access at the Big Brutus Park.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just at that boat ramp.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a big pit too.
Yeah, it is.
If it wasn't too crowded, you might be able to sit in that dude all day long. There's some big ones that you could sit in. There's some small ones if you wanted to hop around, just kind of what you want to do. I like to fish fast, but I usually just cover every square inch of the shoreline and then move to the next.
I hear you. And even up in here, I mean, these are some good looking, little guys as well. Little ramps like this that, like I said, that's what all my little blue flex marks are, is I go through and I find ramps basically through all the map study. This one was one that was pretty interesting. Launch right into the slashes here. It's like, what in the heck?
Yeah.
But I'd probably want to do that guy. That guy looks a little bit cleaner to get down to at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's this whole area just looks amazing. It's being that it's a wildlife area, that's going to be super cool. To try to to bounce around in here, and we got 2 full days to scope this stuff out and hit this super hard.
And it is all primitive camping allowed for free in there. You can pull off on the side of the road, grab your stuff, and walk into a field and set up camp, and it's perfectly legal. You can camp right next to the boat ramp if you want to.
Wow.
You can set up camp anywhere you want. You want to hike in and drag your stuff somewhere, and for this event, since it is all public, you can launch from your camp. So if anybody's primitive camping out there, they can set up next to a pit and just launch right there and go.
There you go. I'm all bougie though, man. I need electricity.
Yeah, I do too. Plus cell service is really spotty out there too. So.
Yep. Yeah, I got a refrigerator in my trailer that needs to hold my Uncrustables in the freezer. So
Yeah. At the Big Brutus campground, they have primitive campsites as well as electric sites for rent too.
yeah, that's where we're actually set up there. I'm set up at Big Brutus. I'm got the
I,
reservations in a while back.
I think it's the only campground in the area that offers that, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I asked, you have a spot with shade? And she says, "Yep, I got one." And I was like, "I'll take it." Because that tin can of mine, she gets hot in the sun. So, but yeah, this should be interesting. I'm excited, and it's like I wish I could get down there, earlier so I could have more time to go and check a lot of the stuff out because there's just no way you're going to be able to see everything. And so it just seems like you're going to have to make an educated guess on what area you want to focus on, and then just hit hard and heavy in those areas.
Yeah, there's so many options. It's mind blowing. This place is 45 minutes from my house, and one of my favorite places to go fish. When I was doing the KBF online tournaments and the other, I would enter the Kansas online. I didn't enter Missouri. I entered Kansas, and I was fishing over there. But I've been exploring those pits heavy and hardcore for the last 5-6 years, and I ain't even touched the surface. You were sending me some of the pits that you were looking at, and I hadn't even been there before. And I've been going there, 2 or 3 times a week for years.
That's awesome.
There's just so many options. There's no way you can have enough time to properly scout all these out. You just got to kind of pick a few and just go for it.
For sure, man. Yeah, that's and that's to be said also. I mean, on large bodies of water, that kind of it becomes kind of the name too. You got to choose a section of this body of water that you're going to really focus hard on, and that's where you're going to go. In the boat world, you can run a lot further, so you can scope other areas. But even then, you got to look at an area. So it seems overwhelming, but the strategy piece remains kind of the same. The hard thing is just guessing. You're wondering whether or not your guess is right on the set of pits that you're going to jump into.
Mm-hmm.
To see whether or not you're going to be able to hit the gold that you're looking for there. So it looks like we have a special guest joining us here. I've been talking with him on the side here. So one second. Let's put this here and let's see if he's ready. I don't see his camera, but that's okay. Let's go for audio. Let's see if we can get him in here. Mr. Harmon, do you hear us, brother?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. Good. Thank you for joining us.
No,
Hey, Jay.
no problem. Hey, Josh, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, bro.
Well, we brought Jay in because, as everybody knows, the September 10th date, the Sunday right after our tournament, that is the massive nationwide online tournament that basically anglers all getting together to help Brother Jay out with a couple pieces of equipment that the man needs. And so this is we thought, checking out Mind Lands, dude, this would be a perfect time. Jay, have you ever fished over at Mind Lands?
I have with Josh and a few of the other guys.
Nice.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, Josh couldn't have said it any better. I don't think you could fish just those areas for the next 10 years, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I haven't heard any banjos though.
You haven't heard banjos in there?
It's really quiet. It's real quiet.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That is super awesome. All right, Jay, so if you're going in and you got 2 rods to take, what are you taking in there, buddy?
Berkeley Chapo, the shad, I think it's the MD or HD shad, and probably the Croco Gator head knocker.
All right.
Top water all day. Yeah. Just, and the more noise you can get, I caught some really nice fish out there with Josh when we went, and I was using a whopper plopper, but I switched to a Chapo, and it seems like I got the little larger fish with the more noise we threw at them. So
it's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I love that idea of just going on top water all freaking day long. and just never leaving it. By the time you get off the water, your arm and wrist are sore from reeling and throwing all day long.
Yeah, if I was only taking 2 rods, I would have a crocodigator head knocker, the small one tied on, and then a booyah pad crasher frog.
There you go.
That's all I would take.
And there's just nothing like topwater fishing to me, man. It's one of the things I love teaching when we go out, when I take the vets and the warriors out fishing with the TPO and with Romans. When we go out, one of the things that I immediately talk with them about is just the topwater bite. We got to try it. We got to see if there's a topwater bite going, because you get one blow up on topwater, dude, you are hooked. That is, like, to me, that is the most fun that you can have bass fishing. Whether it's a big old hog that just snuck in the thing down, or whether they're blowing up on it like they're cross-eyed and on crack, it's just phenomenal watching that stuff go off.
Yeah, I'm addicted to the topwater bite. If I can't get a topwater bite, I get frustrated. My whole day's ruined. My tournament's ruined. I don't care. I ain't going to fish in early spring or winter. I'll just wait for that topwater bite time.
Dude, I'll throw a frog in 50-degree water. I don't care, because I know that just one of these days I'm going to hit one and I'm going to have a story there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got hooked, like I said, a week or so back with Josh when we went to La Crosse with the topwater frogs. It's,
yep.
If they miss it and you see that frog fly up about 5 foot in the air, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and that's La Crosse is notorious. The whole upper Mississippi River up in there, when the topwater bite goes off up there, it's almost like nothing I've ever experienced. Because there's still a mystery, because you're going to get pike, you're going to get dogfish, you're going to get bass. I mean, just the topwater explosions are nuts. The dogfish will actually shark your frog, and when you get real good, you can actually spot the sharking taking place, and then you can get that frog the heck out of there as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
but it's they actually will. They rarely come from like underneath up. They usually come out of something, and you can see. Most of the time, you get caught just watching it, going, "Oh my God, what is that?" And then boom.
I know, and when you're seeing it coming, you're like, "Oh, there's a dogfish coming," and you're like, "But wait, maybe it's a bass. It could be a bass. Should I take it away, or should I let it hit it?"
Exactly. It's a topwater strike. I got to get it.
You got to get it.
Yep. And
so
I did notice that there, Josh, when we were there. Topwater guys like to reel it and 5-10 foot away from the boat, go ahead and pull it up a little too fast and throw it back out there. But I had a lot of strikes right at the boat. And a few of them will scare you. I mean, that's like just blow up, water in your face, and yeah, you gotta love it.
That's like one of the most aggravating things when you're out there throwing a topwater bait, was when you pick it up out of the water at the boat and all of a sudden a fish swipes at it. And you're like, I just would have left it there one more second.
It was one of the things when I first got the motors on the kayak, I started wondering, the guys with the pedal systems, it's like, man, do you have, am I just not as stealthy? This, dude, in crystal clear water, I've had smallmouth come up and hit a swim bait of mine, literally 2 foot from the kayak, with the motor, on, holding me in current or holding me in place, in these waters. They don't care. That stuff is, they're looking for food. When they get that food on, yeah, they'll come up there, and yeah, it does. It scares the pee-wallies out of you when they hit it that close. So the whole area here, I mean, fish other than bass that we're going to run in, are we going to find any toothy critters in here? Are there any pike this far down south?
No, negative.
No. Okay, gotcha. Good to know.
The only thing you're going to have to worry about will be gar and flathead, probably.
There are gar in the water, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's definitely gar. There's gar and a lot of catfish.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I was biggest catfish ever caught was on a jig in a set of weeds that I was throwing into some bunch of grass. There he is, camera on and all.
Hey, got relaxed. It's sitting in the bed.
There you go. There you go.
Hope you don't mind. I'm relaxing.
No, that's all right. We'll start up a Jay Harmon OnlyFans here. You know, we'll raise some money that way, huh?
That's right.
Tim, let's see. What is Tim Gurley saying? I wouldn't lip a trout if you catch one. Solid advice, Tim.
Yeah.
Out here in Colorado, we have lots of trout. And like if you touch them, they die. They're a very fragile little creature.
Yeah, same here.
If you notice, I'm not overly fond of trout.
I'm not a fan either. I don't see. I'm not going to bash it, but I just see guys getting so excited about catching an 8-inch fish, and I'm like, what? What? Okay, yeah, it's a pretty fish. Yeah, nice job, but it's 8 inches, dude.
You know, it is the thinking man, you know, the thinking man sport of fly fishing for sure. You know, and I mean we've robbed some stuff from them. I mean, that sport right there is the whole match the hatch, right? I mean, I've seen those guys go out in the morning before anything's moving and they're tipping over rocks, they're looking at larvae and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm still, you know, scratching my, you know, my cheek and trying to drink coffee to figure out what I'm doing. These guys are, you know, going scientific with it. Yeah, it's way too smart for me.
Yeah, it's a whole nother ball game for sure.
Yeah. So Stacy Jordan says, "Good to see you, Jay. Awesome. Thanks for joining in, Stacy. We appreciate that, brother."
Yep. Lots of love. Hugs coming, buddy. So
this,
I guess I have a question for Josh because you know the time I went with Josh, I stuck to top order only. Josh, have you fished any other baits out in those areas like shaky heads, Neds, or anything? Or
yeah, flipping a jig, I've had success with. You know, dragging it down that ledge, and then also you know, spinner bait. I've had success with running it down brush piles. Also, you know, jackhammer. I've caught a lot of fish just running a jackhammer parallel to the bank as well. So. But I don't really fish too many methods. Like I said, those methods work so good there. I've never had to really do anything else. So,
right.
But yeah, that's a good question. I would say spinnerbait, jackhammer.
You know, and that's, if you can get them chasing, that's the thing. I was just talking to a buddy of mine who's down at Pueblo today. And he said they're starting to chew on the shad down there, and there's just, to me, there's no more fun than when they're chasing. You know, that's my style of fishing, is moving. You know, I'm not a good one for the passive stuff of sitting and waiting, you know, on them type thing. I like to move bait, you know, and be it a swim jig or swim bait or a crankbait or jackhammer, you know, something. I want to be moving. So when they start chasing, if you can catch them chasing and they're willing to bite like that, that's a ton of fun, man. It almost, you know, everything else just kind of becomes secondary after that. You know, you can just sit back and bend on them all day and enjoy your time out there for sure.
That's Absolutely. The main food source out there. There's a lot of these pits that are just full of big, giant schools of shad.
Wow.
Shad's probably the number one food source for a lot of these big pits. There may not be many of them in the smaller pits. There'll probably be crappie and perch, but in the bigger pits, yeah, massive schools, just like you were on a big lake. I mean, there's tons of shad in there.
Are there smallies in this water, or is it just largemouth?
No, I've never caught a smallmouth. It's just largemouth. There's no current or anything like that, so yeah. I don't know. I don't think they could even live there.
I was going to say, I doubt the water would get cold enough for their liking either. It'd be really warm.
In the summertime, yeah.
Yep. Now, do these things freeze over in the winter? Is it that far enough south, or is it?
Yeah, if it's cold enough, they're going to get a crust across them. The smaller ones, the shallower ones, but it's nothing you're going to be able to walk out on. I wouldn't ever try that, but yeah, they will freeze, but it's not like we can go ice fishing here.
I was going to say, not a lot of ice fishing going on out there.
No, I've never. No, that's not even a thing. We don't do that in Missouri.
I don't do that anywhere I'm at, I'll tell you. I don't know about you, Jay, but the wintertime for me is where I wear my fuzzy bunny slippers and I look at maps and I read a lot of bass, fishing magazines.
Yeah, me and cold weather don't get along.
You know, I'm right there with you, man. It's like I don't mind, the mid-range, stuff, but yeah, the I lived in Minnesota for 10 years and that was good enough.
Yeah.
I'm over it. Sub-zero stuff, 12 pounds of snow to, move off your porch every time you turn around.
Right.
No, thanks. I'm good. I can decorate a palm tree just as good as I can a snowy pine tree.
Yeah.
For sure. But
So
the again, I kind of go back to like the Chapo and things like that, and you were talking about how you like to fish, but I like to get those bass angry, and to me the louder I can make that bait, or the head knockers, the Croco Gator head knockers are just amazing for making, and you can bend it, to flex that wire to get a little more action, a little more sound, and I like making them angry.
Yeah, that's one good thing about that buzzbait is you can tweak it and tune it any way you want. You can make it a quiet little squeaky tap, or you can make it knocking hard and screaming. I mean, it's really durable, versatile. I mean, I'm not even sponsored by Crockett Gator, but
I was going to say,
I'm not. It sounds like a Crockett Gator commercial right now, but it's just a damn good bait.
I'm not either, but I probably got about 25 of them.
I had Chad Davison on a while back when he sealed up the double, AOI maneuver between All American and Moyak, and I literally put a post out there, later on about that, hey, when a guy that won, 2 AOI titles in a single year tells you to use a bait, you pay attention. You listen to the guy, and if anybody who knows Chad knows it, he doesn't BS, man. He's going to shoot you straight. He'll show you exactly what he was throwing and how he was throwing it, and he'll still take your money. But
yeah, he does. Every tournament, I say, here's what I caught him on. Here's what I beat you with.
Yeah, but and so I went out and loaded up with them. I need to. I got some of their smaller ones too, which I'm really pleased with because I was throwing some of the small ones on even on spin casting gear because I could really skip. I could actually skip the little things underneath certain deals, and pull them out of there real easy.
Yeah, that's how I fish them. I put that tiny one on that spinning rod and just skip it around and throw it. I mean, you can even run it across some grass and lily pads and stuff. They're kind of somewhat weedless if you know what you're doing and you can run it right. It's a cool ass bait.
And that's funny that you mentioned that because it's one of those. Oops, hang on. Where'd we go? Still not there. We are. It's one of those things that I started with spin casting gear, left it when I got deeper into the bait casters. I started having few egg beaters on deck. Because it's just not my style of fishing from a boat. But then I get in the kayak, and now it's coming back because I'll be the first to tell you straight out, I can skip wacky rigs and jigs and things so much better with a spin cast reel than I can a bait caster. I just don't have the temperament to fight that bait caster because I don't care how good you are, you're gonna cause a snarf sooner or later if you're skipping. And I've got that Lose Specifics force skipping reel, and it's still like every 10, 15, I'll get a little, I could see something forming there, and it's like, get that out of there. So it's like, now put it on a spin cast, dude, I'll sit there and swing that thing around. And I mean, I can put that, just about anywhere I want. So it's kind of cool how I feel like I've come back to where it all started. And now I've got this blend of fishing. What about you, Jay? You big skipper?
Same thing with, and I actually use like a lot of times it's not like an ultralight, but I like the lightweight rods for that.
Yep.
I think you do get a little better action underneath the trees and some of that shallow area. And like Josh said, that bait, it will roll. If you are reeling it just right, it'll roll over that, and it's a snagless type bait. At least it has been for me.
That's awesome.
And I actually have not put any kind of, for me, I haven't put any like frog legs or any trailers behind it. I know a lot of people do. I know Chad does that. He likes running like a trailer. But yeah, I mean, I think I do both, but when it comes to like spinners or even some of the small chatterbaits, I'll use a spinner.
Yep.
I think, the quality of spinning reels and the quality of fishing lines gotten so much better recently that, when I was growing up, I was throwing a bait caster when I was 12. And that's all it was. My dad, bait caster is the only thing you use when you're bass fishing, unless you're just crappie fishing. Then you use the spinning rod. But yeah, fairy wands. That's, I grew up with that mentality. But, then I got into using smaller baits. And when you are, like you were mentioning, when you're throwing tinier baits, it's just so much easier if you're using a spinning rod.
Yeah.
And then I got into wading creeks and then, using ultralight gear. And I started to apply that to lakes. And, I probably have way more spinning rods than I do bait casters now, for sure.
I'm starting to see mine actually. The numbers used to be this way for spin rods, then it went this way for bait casters. Now it's coming back to like it's almost dead even. And I'm going to say something that, and I'm probably committing career suicide by saying this, at least, possibly. But I'll be honest with you. The whole BFS phase that went off about getting these bait casters for finesse fishing, I don't get it, man. I just don't. Personally, if I need finesse gear, I'm grabbing a spin rod and I'm done. I don't need to buy a specialty kind of deal. I don't want the less confusing for my big dumb head I can use, the better. And so yeah, I just when I throw, I've got actually little jerk baits that are 2 inches. I've got some of those little, those ripping baits, that I can use, and those things will kill smallies up here in Colorado. I've gone out, not in tournament time, but I've gone out and just absolutely lit them up with those little things, and I'm throwing that just on literally a medium action, spin rod, and it's like, if I need finesse stuff, I go over there, and I never have to worry about, every great once in a while get some weird knot, in the line going, now where in the hell did that come from? But I like the fact that you can fix that stuff a lot quicker for sure. But, definitely when it comes to the power fishing, though, my bait casters are for sure something I lean on them, for a lot of the reeling. Especially I do enjoy throwing, certain baits out on a real low crank, like a 5.1 to, type deal, like a 5.4 or a 5.1, but it's so tough to find those in left-handed for me. It's like, thank you. Abu Garcia is one of the few that actually still make left-handed, really low, the 5 range ratios. So it's tough to track it down.
Yeah, you should have seen Josh and I in lacrosse. Josh pulls out about 3 rods and I pull out about 25. Day 2, I think I took like 3 rods myself. It's like, yeah, you just sometimes you overthink it, or and there's certain rods, like I have a Kistler that I really love for the chatterbaits, and I just can't stand that chatterbait stealth blade. I just don't think it gives enough action or enough noise. But I
was gonna say, it feels like it defeats the purpose of the chatterbait, right? Like, I don't want you stealthy. I need you making noise.
It's small. It just doesn't give that action. But again, I watched people like Chad or Josh or Troy and some of these guys that have done it for years, and it's like, yeah, I need to listen to them and not overthink it in my head a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. On practice days on a body of water that I don't know, Yeah, I can hold 8 upright, and I can usually get about 2 to 3, laying down, and I'll be loaded out on practice days on a new body of water. And then by day 2, I've got about half that number. Or if I still have 8, 4 of them are rigged up with the same bait, just different colors. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep.
It's like I'll thin it down for that second day. But yeah, day
Yeah,
1.
I think I'm a little, I do it because it takes me 40 minutes to tie a bait on in the water, but I need to have a few extra to compete with these guys. Like we talked before, I give a lot of lunch money away, but
That's right.
so having different frogs or type waters and things like that, and there's a lot of times like I said, throw top water all day. A lot of people don't throw that top water past 10 o'clock.
Yep.
You're going to be surprised. You get on some of these pits down here where Josh took me, and it's like 2-3 o'clock, and you're just smashing them, and it's dead heat.
Yep.
It's amazing.
They just react. It's all reaction strikes. Whatever you can throw, they get angry and they want to kill it. So that's what it comes down to. They're not real. I don't even really think they're feeding half the time. I think they're just killing.
Yep. No, I love it, man. It's definitely. I watched one of the greats in the Ozark area there in the kayak scene, Mr. Jared. I watched him, absolutely just wear him out, with a buzz bait, and it just helped. It gave me that confidence that yes, my thought was that I can throw this all day, and hold tight to it because I know the quality of bite that I'm going to get when it comes. I don't need to catch them every 5 minutes. Every 20, 25, I'm good with that, because I know my quality is going to be stronger there. But a lot of guys, I think it always boils down to what are you comfortable with? What do you have that confidence in to keep throwing and to know where to throw it? Because that's one of the things I think that a lot of guys miss out on is the stealth approach, learning how to get that bait to lay down on the water nice and easy, not bombing the thing in, letting it drop 5 foot out of the air and kasploosh. A lot of times you run off most of the fish that you were going to have a shot at. Learn how to get that bait in there, and that just comes from casting.
Yeah, that's a really good point right there. You make that bait land soft and immediately start moving forward, and they go crazy. Sometimes it'll just land right in their freaking mouth, and they're already there.
I love those.
Yeah.
That reaction strike when you guess right and you land like right on top of their head and they boom hit it the moment it hits the ground. It's like, ooh, goodness.
Learning the bait is the big thing. The whopper ploppers, the Berkeley Chopos. Those are baits you can throw out there and let them sit. They'll float. You can't do that with a croco gator. So you do have to kind of work that a little faster.
Yep.
But that's the thing. Like Josh said, you don't want to go out there and throw a whopper plopper or a chopo that's a 90 size. Get the smaller size and kind of lay it in there softly.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm starting my retrieve before the bait even hits the water.
Right.
You kind of got to gently pull it forward and let it land, and then I don't know. It's like you said, you just got to practice and get the feel for the bait and how it works. But it's when you figure it out, the fish go crazy over it.
Yeah, it's money. And I've even had the same rod and reel, act a little different because the line's a little bit older, it's a little bit more worn. So yeah, it takes a few times just to get it figured out where it's at on that given day, and then you get rolling with it. But yeah, a lot of times, especially frogging up on the Mississippi, man, I'm already reeling that frog back before he ever touches the pad. I'm already starting, moving back, and getting ready to start twitching him and start hopping him across that stuff. But that's good stuff. Well, listen, man, this is going to be a blast in this area. There's a couple of towns around, folks. So just make sure, you got Columbus there, you got Parsons, you got Oswego. Pittsburgh, that's up north here.
Yeah, that's on the north end.
That's the big one, yeah.
I would imagine that Columbus is going to be closest for most people that are fishing a lot of the public pits.
Yep.
And it's got a couple gas stations and dollar store.
And like you said, it's got It's got some fast food in there that you can hit.
Yep.
Oh, there's even a budget inn. Look at that. There's a hotel out there. Okay, it's good to know in case the air conditioner can't keep up. That, or I'm just going to take my air mattress and sleep on the lake.
I would say, though, if you hear banjos, I would not sleep there.
No, no. Nope. No, I plan to be loud and proud wherever I go and make sure it's public and get in and out nice and easy, do my fishing and leave everything as I found it.
Also, want to go out there too while I'm thinking about it. Sorry, Jay, but the Kansas kayak anglers are having their tournament in conjunction with us as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
If anybody wants to double dip and fish in that club tournament, there's no membership requirements, so they can do that as well.
And now, is the team thing going at the same time for this as well?
Yeah, we'll have the team event going on.
Okay.
We get enough people to sign up for it.
I was going to say, so I've never done the team, but I've got a partner actually for this event finally. So I'm wondering, is there another sign up for that?
Yeah, if you want to fish in the 2-man team tournament for this event, all you do is go to TourneyX and you'll sign up for the team tournament. You'll sign up for the team tournament, and then your partner will sign up for the team tournament.
Okay.
One of you becomes team captain. You go to your TourneyX dashboard on the website. I'm not sure if you can do this on the app. I think you need to go to tourneyx.com, log into your account, and go to your dashboard. And there you click on Create Team. It'll give you the option to create a team. You click on that, and then you're going to create your team name. Once you've created that team, then your partner is going to have the option on his dashboard to join a team. He clicks on the Join Team tab, and it's going to bring up a list of all the other teams that are open. He'll click on the team he wants to join and request to join it. And Perfect. Then you, as team captain that created that team name, you approve him, and then you have your team. And then you're
Sweet.
set. TourneyX will automatically combine your scores from then on out.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I actually finally got. I was like that, the last one sitting on the side at the prom there, looking for a date, and finally found one that a guy that agreed to join me on this. I'm like, all right, cool, let's get after this.
Yeah, it can be a fun little side pot to get in on.
Yeah, it's my man John Denton. He's my date for this one. That's right.
That's a good date.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I already apologized to him. I'm like, I hope your back is strong because you're going to have to carry us, buddy. So
the hardest part is thinking up a team name.
It is. Most of the stuff we got probably isn't very, acceptable in public. Most of the stuff John and I came up with, it's like, yeah, we're going to offend a lot of people with that one.
Well, creating the team name, I think, is probably half the fun of joining the tournament.
Right. Shake and bake.
That's right. That's right. Not woke, still broke. We might go for that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That explains John and I pretty good.
There are no restrictions on the team name as long as it's not no.
Well, it's not going to be Team Fairy Wands, I'll tell you that. Sorry, Micah, we're not doing that. All right, guys. Well, listen, man, I'm excited. I can't wait to get on the road, get down there. I'm going to be in the area tomorrow evening, get set up. And then I'll be on the water first thing Wednesday. Looks like from one of the things I was looking at on the weather, there might be some scattered thunderstorms tomorrow and Wednesday, just a possibility of them here and there. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it looks like it's going to be warm, hot, a little bit of wind. I'll be liking that wind. That wind can come on in all at once. That'll be welcomed. But yeah, man, this should be an awesome time. And the awards is going to be at Big Brutus. They actually have is it a pavilion there? They have an indoor thing.
Yeah, they have from the way I understand it, they've got an outdoor stage.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to meeting those folks because they were really excited when they heard we were coming in, and this is the first time. This is the first time anything like this has ever been tried. So
I mean, I hope we can pull this off because it's going to be tough. I mean, cell service is spotty, but this is a fun place to fish. So,
Well, and if we do our homework and we find the areas where we're getting cell service, then we plan accordingly and
yes,
and do.
everyone has an hour and a half after it lines out to find service, and that's plenty of time. From just about all those pits, you can drive in any direction for about 30 minutes and find signal. So
for sure. There's no special other than just a Kansas fishing license is all we need for this. Nothing extra special unless you're going to get on that trout pit. If you're going in there, you need a trout stamp, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Sounds good. And as far as any special regulations or anything we need to think about with motors?
Nope, there's no restrictions. Okay. I mean, it's just like any other thing. Make sure you're registered and following your own state's rules. If you follow your own state laws, and you're legal in any other state, that's how it works.
Rock on.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else.
Awesome.
Like I said, make sure if you're coming there, watch out for private pits. Don't go into that purple paint and don't trespass because you'll get shot.
We don't want to mince words here.
No, exactly. A DQ will be the least of your concerns. I promise.
Yeah, it's good. Good point, and solid information. It's that Darwinism is real. So pay attention, boys and girls. Well, listen, man, this is going to be a ton of fun. Jay, my brother, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to make this a common thing. We're going to bring your knowledge in, brother. And
I appreciate letting me come.
Dude, we're better off for it. Having a guy with your kind of knowledge and your history. I mean, this is awesome. Anybody who got a chance to see this live, super big treat because they're hearing, from both of you guys that have experience in this area. And then for those of our anglers that are watching this recorded, we love that just the same. So this is awesome stuff, man. When you share your knowledge like that, you're helping the rest of us goobers out there try to get better at this stuff.
I'm relaxed in the bed,
That's right. And we'll talk about that OnlyFans thing. Who knows? There's going to be some people paying for this, Jay, I'm sure.
If you don't want to go to the OnlyFans page, you can still help Jay out because this Sunday we've got the Jay Harmon Benefit Tournament coming up. So you can still help without having to see him naked. So, like I said, it's going to be a fun tournament too. This is an MLF style nationwide online. So as many fish in public water anywhere in the country, catch as many fish as you can. It's going to be a race. I mean, we got Marty Hughes, Richie McMichael. We've got some big names during this tournament, and they're going to put up. I mean, Marty and there's a couple other people. They're donating, money for every fish they catch as well. So this MLF style event is going to be exciting to watch. It'll be exciting to compete in too. And if anybody wants to join in, it's on Tourney X.
Drew Gregory even got in on advertising for this thing, which was super awesome to see our man Drew out there doing that. Hopefully we see him up on the board there if he's got a chance. Like I said, we'll get our. He did. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's fishing in the tournament.
We're going to put our name in the hat, but we're going to be on the road actually driving back from Kansas. We got to get back here, but we'll still have our entry in there. We'll be in spirit, and that much will still be covered there. But yeah, this is super cool to see the just the way the entire community has banded together like this, and just it's so wild, man, because this came about with Josh and I both, just going. Yeah, we got to do this. Let's figure this out. So Josh puts it together, and next thing you know, boom, we're coast to coast with this thing. It's like, what the heck? It just took off. That is so awesome.
54 anglers signed up so far.
Yeah. Lots of love to everyone. So
heck yeah.
Can't say that enough.
All right, folks. Well, don't miss this chance. Mindland, Kansas. Get on down here. All-American Kayak Series. Gonna be a blast down there. We're staying at the Big Brutus. That's where I'll be staying there. Anybody catches me in the area, let's go grab a beer, let's grab a pizza or whatever. I'm up for chatting, fishing, or anything you want. And then we'll have the awards at Big Brutus. This could be a ton of fun down here, man. I'm excited that we're breaking new ground, and we'll see how it all plays out. But stay out of the purple paint. Stay on the public only. That's the best advice we have there. Josh, Jay, thank you so much, folks. Likes, follows, all that good stuff. You know the drill. We need the help there. That is a major, major deal. Josh and Jay, I'll get with you after we roll out of here. And everyone else, tight lines, be safe.